Hey, everybody. Welcome to JK'z Rewatch Baller. I am your host, JDubs, and I have a plethora of incredible, beautiful people that are on this show each and every week. Tonight's topic, just for some of you, it's about sports. We are going to do negative and positive. So let's just get right to it. Let me introduce the players. So first, and of course, as you know, always, every time this gets edited and uploaded, wherever everybody is, they just move around because they just have the power of magic that they can just do that shit and it fucks me up. But anyways, so first, I'd like to introduce my wife. Her name for tonight is First and 10. Do it again, Jen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. So going back to another sports show, we have Miss Tight End Jackie. How are you doing?
Fabulous.
See, I'm keeping with the sport terms. And of course, we have split finger fastball Eric. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing great. I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with your porn stash, so I had to just keep it mild, PG. But
It's pretty good.
We do have a celebrity on the show. He is in the Badminton Hall of Fame, Mr. Shuttlecock George Muzzy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing.
Oh, it's coming too. So you do. So, I want to thank you all for being on the show. I know, it's Tuesday. It's our second week of switching from Thursday to Tuesday, so kind of messes up with everything. But I appreciate you all being here. We are going to talk the first part of the show about the negative of sports. So, Eric, go first. No, just kidding, Eric. I'll let you off the hook. I think one of the things we were just talking about in the pre-show was I absolutely hate the amount of ridiculous contracts and the amount of money that any person can make. And if they don't get their own way, they hold out. Like, to me, that just passes on to the next generation of, like, so and so did it. I'm a fan of his, and I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. I think every one of us here on this show, if we were offered $100,000 to be the third string on any pro sport, none of us would say no. And most of these athletes, and including college now because of the NIL, they are making so much money, especially off endorsements. Like, how can a individual dictate whether or not they are going to go onto the practice field or to the court or to the ball field and not play because they're not making an extra $7 million a year? What's your guys' take on that, Jennifer? Haha, I threw Eric a curveball. You see that?
I was ready.
He was ready, and I'm like, I saw it.
I was ready to swing.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
agree.
Jeff.
I think the money's just out of hand. Like, you're on a winning team, and they're like, okay, you did good this year, you get money, and then you suck the next year, and they're like, well, what happened? Or else you get hurt on the second play, and you just signed a $300 million contract. So it's too much money they're paying these people, and they whine and cry if they don't get over 100 million. I'm like, most people would take that. They'd be happy with that. But you're complaining because it's not 300 million. And then you're going to retire in like 2 years. So,
I just like to I know maybe only Jen knows this, but so there's a backup quarterback for the Chicago Bears. His name is Tyson Badge, and he came from a Division III, whatever. He wasn't really invited to the combine, and the Bears took a chance with him. And he's been a backup a couple of years now. He's really great. You might know his dad. He's a professional arm wrestling champion. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But anyways, he signed a 2-year, $10 million contract recently, right? He's at the podium crying, right? Just because it means so much to him to have that belief in him for $10 million. But there's other players that are, no, I don't make enough money, so I'm going to sit out, or I want to be traded, or I want to be this. Here's a guy that, potentially would never be a true starter. Maybe I'm just saying that I don't know. He's better than me, so I don't really have any reason to doubt him. But he just signed a 2-year, $10 million contract, right? And he's crying because he's so happy, right? People are getting mad because they're not making $30 million a year. That's so, George, at your job, right? You made it very clear. We're not going to say too much about anybody's job, but you drive forklift. You love your job. You say how much you love forklift. What would happen if you went to your bosses, and let's just say for basic math, you're making $10 an hour. What if you went to your bosses and said, hey, listen, I want another $10 or I'm not coming into work? What would happen?
They'd probably say, we wish you well in your future endeavors. Probably. Hey. And
Jeez.
I think my mother-in-law is driving by. I don't know why. I don't know why I said that. That's what he was barking at. Anyway, I think they would send me packing, but I also didn't sign a 5-year deal or nothing to drive forklift. So, yeah, I think my biggest thing with the ones that are complaining that they don't make enough money is they forgot how much fun it was to play the game.
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing one of my old softball shirts when I played in a league. Obviously I would have rather played baseball, but there's not too many amateur baseball leagues, but I would play. I mean, we had to pay to play, you had to pay a certain amount. But I would literally take the minimum to play, and I'd want to play every day. I wouldn't want, a lot of people say I'd take, I don't know what the league minimum is anymore, for any of the sports, but let's say baseball. I don't know what is it? 3 million is the league minimum. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Whatever it is, a lot of people say, well, I would take that much to sit on the bench. Well, not me. I'd want that much. I'd want to play.
Yeah.
Because I love the sport. I mean, I'm not saying I'd need the league minimum for sure. If they offered me less than that, as long as it was enough money for me to live, I'd still play because I'd want to play. I mean, like a baseball team. Yeah, like a baseball team has 25 people on the regular season squad, not counting at the end when they expand. But during most of the season, they have 25 players on the team. I wouldn't want to be the guy who I only come in a certain situation.
Right.
I'd want to be the guy playing every day.
Right. Where the team is whether up or they're really like down by 15 runs. No, I absolutely I get that.
Yeah.
Just with what Jen was saying and piggyback off of what George was saying, these people, they hold out, right? I mean, you see it all the time. They hold out, they piss and moan and they whine. They're like, let's just do for basic math. I don't want $10 million a year. I want 17 million because so-and-so, just got this deal, but yeah, I had better stats. And what happens? They hold out, right? But that individual that didn't get invited to the combine, that got a walk-on, that was on the practice squad, comes up and does really good and he makes the team. But then this person is like, well, wait a minute, I'm going to be a dumb shit if I don't sign. So now I'm going to sign for $10 million. And that person that was busting their ass all training camp or preseason or spring training, they get bumped back down to the practice squad. And this person comes in, signs, and everybody's like, oh, hey, great to be back, da-da-da-da-da. I think that's bullshit because, I'm not going to say, I should have muted, but if it was me, I'd be like, wait a minute, you're part of the team. Where the hell are you? Why are you not in here? And then how many times is that, and this will go to Eric, how many times does that person who held out, got this big, huge contract, got fucking hurt?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Probably 150% of the time. You're absolutely right. it happens a lot in the NFL. You don't see it a whole lot in the Major League Baseball as much because the way free agency is different and there's no salary cap in Major League. But I want to answer the question a different way, kind of sum up all of what you guys just said. They're all good points. And the one point you forgot about was actually a couple things, was the agents, the media contract with the owners and the Players Association in all sports. And unfortunately, and even NASCAR now, it's driven the wages the way they are, and the performance on the track, on the field, in the clubhouse, whatever, is really not being run by the team anymore. And if you didn't have free agency and salary caps, the media would have total control. They're the ones that are stirring all this up. Like Fox Sports, ESPN, they got to sell these shows to talk about all this stuff. So if you don't have all this stuff that we're just talking about, the drama, the holdouts, you're not going to get the clicks, the likes, the publications and magazines and TV ratings. They don't necessarily want to hold out. And I 100% agree with you guys that it's not right. If, we're making a middle-class wage, to turn down $1 million is like, are you out of your mind? But you got to see their angle of it. If we were part of a situation where, a team is worth $6 billion and their revenue every year is a minimum of $1 to $2 billion a year, I think I'd want a piece of that pie too, no matter how selfish you want to be. And shame on you for not coming to the table and getting it. And that's what they're doing, because the owners are doing it. How much money are they getting every year for a 5-year contract? I mean, look at the NFL. It's ridiculous. And for those guys are kind of like us. The players are like us at a wage. They're not making the wage like we are, but they're employees of the team. So they don't look it, but that's like crumbs to them, because, they're getting billions, NFL teams, and they're making hundreds of thousands. It's like us making, $40 to $50 to $60, $80,000 a year. I mean, so you have to it's a tough situation. But the other, to close my talk on it, is that I think really what's done it is it's put the rates up on TV ratings. It's hurt the fans. Why does it cost, $450 a year to watch NFL games throughout the season? Come on, that's ridiculous. I mean, to watch your favorite team because there's so many blackouts and things like that. That was never like that many years ago, and what was lower than years ago? The wages. The wages were way low for the players, and that's really, and they know it. I mean, and that's why they keep going after the media money, and they keep more and more and more. But the more they take that, you and I are paying for it. That's the part that bothers me. They take all they want, but why don't they think of the fans instead of just thinking of the millionaires and the billionaires? They don't look at that.
Recently, you and your son went to a Mets game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I don't need to know your finances, but did you get any beverages or any food?
Yeah.
What did you have? Just
basic stuff. We spent more money on food and beverages than we did for the tickets.
That's my point. That's exactly
right.
Yeah.
Was it the Syracuse Mets, right?
Oh yeah, that was the Syracuse. Okay, I went to New York City, then to the Syracuse Mets. Right. The stuff at the Syracuse Mets were the same thing. The cost of the concessions were more than our tickets to get in the game.
That's ridiculous.
Major league level and at the minor league level. Yeah, it's wrong.
Yep. Yeah. Before I let Jackie give her a comment, one of the things that I was thinking about when we were doing when we decided to do the show was, obviously the contracts. I don't think anybody's worth that money. I don't care. Even Derek Jeter, who I loved watching, I don't think he was worth all that money. I mean, I just don't think you should be paying that person all that money. And let's just not forget, recently, in case you don't know, Deshaun Watson from the Cleveland Browns has a guaranteed contract of $230. So it doesn't matter whether he's playing or not. He's fucking making 40-some million or whatever it is a year. That is fucking ridiculous. He's not even playing, and he sucked. And
he's a pervert.
and a pervert. Yeah, because
And a
you turn
Very true.
no.
Wait,
Jackie,
what?
No. So Deshaun Watson is a quarterback. He was with the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
He went to the Browns and he got a guaranteed contract for $230 million. However, he had like 25 different sexual what am I looking for? What's the word? Yeah, so he went to massage parlors and he made advances towards women, and there was like 25 of them. But so he got hurt,
Right.
and he sucked. He did not have great whatever, but he still got that guaranteed contract. So yes, Eric, I agree with you. If somebody wanted to my agent go on my behalf and give me this money, that's great. Guaranteed contract,
Right.
whatever. So
Yeah.
Jackie, what do you have to win?
I'm with you.
No, I mean I was just opening the floor.
It sucks that sports is not, is driven by money. I can only say or sum up what everybody has said. I agree with everybody. It should be about the play of the ball and not about the money.
Yeah.
Yep. I think you're right.
But
wish-
acting is like that too. Look at the actors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wish they would do what some jobs do. At the end of each year, you get evaluated
Yeah.
on your performance.
Uh,
Your raise goes by, like, I don't know. I'm just going to throw out numbers just to say numbers. Like, let's say the minimum you can get is a 3% raise and the maximum you can get is a 7% raise. If you've done your job well, you'll get 7%. If you've gone, done your
valued by how well you play and
Yeah.
how well,
if you do very little, as little
and
as
not the best
possible,
contract and not the best
Yeah.
agent you got out there that is
Yeah.
going to get you the
Yeah.
best deal.
to me, if they did it that way, the guys would want to play the game more
Mhm.
than just collect the money, because the better they do, the more money they get. So then they get both.
Right.
Well,
But
Right.
but we get to see them. I mean, I don't want to see a player get a contract for 25 million a year for the next 5 years, and I get to see him half of the time because he's over on the sidelines pouting or he's hurt or whatever.
Yep.
I agree. Mhm.
I mean, I
Here's
understand when you're hurt, you gotta get it taken care of. But I mean, we're talking serious injuries. I mean, let's look back. I've seen, it was on TV. I mean, obviously I didn't go there, but I've seen Emmitt Smith dislocate his shoulder. He goes to the coaches and says, tape it. Ran for 300 yards. You know how I know it? It's because it was against the damn Giants.
Giants.
Ran
Sorry,
for 300 yards. I'm like, the guy's got a separated shoulder.
Yep.
Wait.
I've seen Brett Favre go out. I've seen Brett Favre go out on the field and his non-throwing arm, I get it, it's his non-throwing arm, but looked like a Q-tip. And he threw for like 300 yards.
No,
Why can't we get that out of, I
As long
got
as
a
you stub your
I
toe,
got
you're
a
out for the
hangnail. I got a
week.
hangnail. I need to sit down for a week.
Go ahead, Jen.
So now when you stub your toe, you're out for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and then you're getting paid still 150 million a year.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, what happened to
really?
these guys who
Okay.
wanted to play no matter what? Like they said, don't take me out of the game. Tape that damn thing up. Let me go back out there.
I mean, I know the Brett Favre season that you're talking about. Yeah, he was. He got the
Yeah.
shit beat that year, but he still came in and
Yeah, like I said, his left hand looked like a freaking Q-tip. It was, you couldn't even see his fingers.
Mm.
But
they still
somehow
had-
the guy still threw the ball really well. I get it. It was his non-throwing arm, but you still gotta do other things with your non-throwing arm.
But Jen and I were out watching some news channel, and the whole Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged. I was like, oh Jesus Christ, this is what's ruining the world. But it is because So there was fans of Taylor Swift, rightfully so. I'm not saying don't be fans, but they were crying, and I'm like, to me, like, okay, I've come to the, like, celebrities die, they don't know me, they don't care about me, they would never. It is what it is. I mean, you got to be honest. But this whole world now is being revolved around, say, Taylor Swift. Okay, there's other women. My wife loves football. She absolutely is a diehard football fan. Like, so now it's going to be about the whole Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and it's like, why?
Right.
There was already women involved with sports before Taylor Swift came along, but because Taylor Swift is a billionaire and she's a pop icon and she whatever, it's going to be because it's the Swift effect. The fuck it is.
Well, I actually think she may have brought some new fans in. I mean,
little kids,
whatever, great, but that doesn't mean we need to see her 72 times during a game when she's up in the stands. Show her a couple times, yay, she's there.
Go ahead, Eric.
What did I say? Like what I said earlier, the media loves it. They're the ones that are right in it. They're not asking for that attention. It's not their fault that they put the camera lens on them. It's the media. It's the producer. It's ratings.
Right.
That they can put a spotlight on Taylor Swift versus the 300-pound lineman. They don't. I mean, come on. I mean, not being, it's just, it's sad. You're right, Jeff. I mean, it's sad that it's come to that. Why are we focusing more on what's in the stands than we are what's on the field? And what George was saying back in the day when Brett Favre was busting his tail and the other, Emmitt Smith and
many others. I mean, back in the day, back in the day, didn't John Riggins run in the Super Bowl with a chest hold?
I remember Walter Payton running with 3 broken ribs.
Yes, I remember that.
Try to play with like George says, a hangnail. I don't know. Like, I'm not a huge college guy. I think it's all highlight. Like you take Ohio State and you play some divisions like Appalachian State, they're going to kick the shit out of them, right? And Ohio State is a powerhouse. No, you're taking excellent players, 5-star recruits against basically walk-ons. But go ahead.
Okay, you know why they do that?
To get their hope, get their hype up, their belief.
No.
Money.
Nothing to do with it. It's all money, because Appalachian State gets paid millions of dollars to play Ohio State because it's TV money. It all goes back to money. And
you're right.
Honestly, that's what it is. But you're right. I mean, it probably helps the other team get a little motivation, but there's more about money, and it's about, Ohio State, they don't want to play them, but their conference president or CEOs of these companies force them to do that, and they're trying to get away from some of that early in the season. Now this year, I think, is the first year where they're going to start playing more competition than playing, the lower schools that are competitive. So, because a lot of people complain about it, and I was one of them. I put a lot of complaints about it over the years. It's not right. It's a total mismatch, because of money.
Kind of like back when Syracuse basketball was pretty good, and they played Colgate. And they beat them like 103 to like 47. It's like, come on, but that's like, just so what happened to Jackie? Oh, okay. Well, so the negative, and I was telling Jen this was that I believe, you take a kid somewhere, right? And this kid's putting in work, and this kid's doing really good, right? Depending on what type of a school you come from. If you come from a small school, say like South Seneca, you're probably not going to get looked at. I mean, I know our schoolmate Dan Hayes got looked at by Syracuse, whatever. I don't know all the details, but so here's this kid. All the spotlight is on him, right? It could be for basketball. It could be an 18-year-old prospect for Major League Baseball, or it could be the next big thing in college football. All the cameras are on them, and they got to pick and choose a hat in front of everybody. Why? So they can be the next big thing, because I'm telling you, you go from nothing in high school, right? Because you cannot collect any money in high school, right? And if you do, it counts against you going to college. So you go to college now. So if you're if you get a full scholarship, everything is paid for. You don't have to worry about it. Good for them. They worked their tail off. I accept that. Now they're making this NIL money. Okay. I know Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky, when she was at LSU, was making over, like, I think $150,000 a year. You know, so now this kid is like, okay, so I made it to college. I got a full ride. Even if I get hurt, I got a full ride. Yeah. Now I'm thinking NFL. I'm thinking top 10, top 5. I got to do whatever it takes. The pressure's on me. And like, one of the best movies is, Kevin Costner's Draft Day.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good movie.
And so now here's this kid. He's 18. He just went into college, 18, 19. Now he's coming out, 22, or her coming out. And now you got the WNBA, you got the MLB. You know, there's so much pressure. And I just think it just messes with everybody. Like right now, before I open it up, there's a kid in Texas. His name is Arch Manning. I believe he's the son of Cooper Manning, Jen.
Yep.
Or one of them, right?
Cooper.
So predict the Heisman Trophy winner. Yep. I'm just saying. I think it sends a bad message to put so much pressure on these kids to, and all they're seeing is dollar signs. I mean, can you blame them? No, but look at what we just. Well, go ahead, Jen.
That kid's had pressure on him since he was a kid, probably with his lineage. He's been, okay, you're a quarterback, you can do this. Well, this is the footsteps you have to live in, and I think he's had pressure on him all of his life.
Yeah. Look what the other two guys did. You need to do better. You need to do that.
Yeah.
No. His uncles are Eli and Peyton Manning.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay. I was gonna say only if you're talking to Jackie, because obviously I know one of the Mannings pretty well.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm thinking.
I've talked about him a little bit here and there, you know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, is balling out, whether it be college or basketball, whatever. Now they go to the next level, and now they're just seeing dollar signs. And you know, it goes back to what I said. You put an offensive lineman on Alabama, right? A powerhouse school, Ohio State, powerhouse school, right? They're killing everybody, right? They go to the NFL nowadays. You're not going to knock around a 325-pound defensive lineman, and they're going to be like, wait a minute, you know, what the hell is going on? So, but they're going to get this money and just dollar signs. That's all sports is dollar signs. If like George said, or I think it was George, if nobody cared about money, they'd be playing right now.
Aaron.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's bullshit that people can dictate where they want to go, right? I mean, think about it. So obviously I'm a big fan. Like, you know, if we wanted to trade Caleb Williams and we're going to get something for him, it should never be, well, what's best for you? No, it's what's best for us. But you got people saying, oh, I'm not going to go play. Deion Sanders said, whoever goes to Cleveland Browns as a quarterback is a piece of shit. And he was getting mad that the Cleveland Browns didn't draft his son. It's like,
right. Stuck in his mouth. Yeah, right.
So, yeah. And then his brother gets kicked out or kicked off the team for fighting.
Right.
It's just
never ends. Right. It's all about money, no discipline, no respect. You're not gonna tell me nothing because I got 2 million likes on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and the teams like that because all the people flock to it, and you know, it's a cancer. It really is. It's a cancer for the dedicated fans that have been around a long time before all this stuff started, and now we got to put up with it. You know, it's like NASCAR. How NASCAR used to be when I grew up as a kid in the 80s and 90s, it was awesome. Now you look what's on the track, it's sickening to watch. You know, it's tough to watch it, you know. And the only reason I watch it because I love racing. It's not because I love NASCAR. I like racing. I love racing. You know, it's sad, but that's how the NFL is getting the same way. I mean, it's the most watched sport in America. It always will be, but you know, in some ways they're making it good, but other ways they're making it bad. You know, and how they look at it in the boardrooms and the money rooms. You know, they're saying just like NASCAR is. Oh well, we'll lose a couple million, but we're going to gain 30 million. You know, and that's why us fans can't win because they know it, and it just keeps getting higher and higher and bigger. And you know, we're nothing. We're just the people that go work every day, work hard for our money, try to afford to go to a game, buy a beer, buy a thing of French fries or popcorn, whatever, and you go home, you're broke. You know, and you watch the maybe a good game, maybe not. Why can't America? The one thing I can't understand, is that why can't a person that makes a middle class wage be able to afford to go to the Super Bowl? Why is that? Why are tickets $10,000, $20,000? Why isn't it put out to the? And I'm not saying you're making a minimum wage, you should be able to afford to go to the Super Bowl. That's probably not one of your priorities. But if you're making anywhere from 30 to 50, 60,000 a year, you should be able to afford a damn ticket to go to the Super Bowl. It's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to take a car loan out for a freaking, a little bit of fun to go to the Super Bowl, even though it's not your team. I want to go someday, but maybe someday I'll be able to afford it. But I'm not that stupid with money just to throw money out like that. I just think it's stupid. It's not fair, and that's got to get under control. And why isn't it? They're making tons of money on the TV contract, so why can't they give the tickets away cheaper?
Yeah.
They do. That's what NASCAR does. NASCAR doesn't care if there's a seat in the house filled because they make so much money on the TV money. They make up for the seats. That's why they can keep going with empty seats. But that's the other part of the deal, which it ain't right. I mean, what are they doing? I mean, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, those grandstands were packed. But guess what? They had one network broadcasting the race, not 5. Yeah. That's the difference. They take a TV or an app or streaming service over their fans. Sorry. I mean, it's not right, to do that to people. And there's a lot of people that don't agree with it, Hopefully someday it doesn't hurt the whole industry, but maybe it needs to in some ways, to get the checks back a little more to our level,
So ESPN, one of the biggest, worldwide is just constantly buying up stuff. Now, they bought this and now they have WWE on their shows and they, it's just all streams of revenue. So they're going to jack up everything. We only got like 7 more minutes, but so years ago we had cable, right? We had DirecTV or whatever. And they just kept on losing channels, right? But they kept on putting in, I swear to God, we would get a notification. Oh, you just, because of whatever, you're going to lose CBS. Oh, but here's a CNBC. I'm like, fuck that. So, what was our final bill, John? Like $130 or more?
Yeah.
And it was such a joke. I was like, screw this. So we live stream TV. We pay $30 a month for like 8,000 channels. And we have every channel known to man. Right. But that's what it's come to.
No, exactly. I hear you.
And really all Fire Stick and a really good internet. And there are so many apps out there that will give you every single thing. I mean, every channel known. What's that?
I'm one of them. I don't even pay nothing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Yankee fan, but I don't watch baseball because I just think it's just too slow. But whatever. I mean, I like the fact that they sped up the pitch or the pitcher, but I don't know. I'd rather watch football. I don't watch much basketball because everything to me in basketball is a highlight. Who can dunk over somebody or throw an alley-oop and make them look stupid? I complain to Jen all the time every time we watch football. Somebody wasn't even involved in the play, right? Say the ball was overthrown, right? And what did the defender do? Stand there like this. Like they did something. And I'm like,
right.
My team, my Bears. I love the Bears. Even I'm like, you didn't fucking do anything. What are you doing? You're a fucking idiot. Which I like to go back to last year's Chicago Bears Washington Redskins game, number 29. I'm not even gonna say his name because fuck him. He's over jaw-jacking with the fans, right? The play is happening, and there was holding. Anyways, the play is happening. Hail Mary pass. The same guy that was jaw-jacking to the Redskins fan tips it to the guy for the game-winning touchdown.
Hooray to that fan. At least the fan did something right. God damn.
Yeah. But that's the other downside of sports to me is, in basketball, in NBA or college, you could be down, you could be losing the game by 30, and you make one big play, and you celebrate like you just won the championship or you hit the game-winning shot.
Right.
I remember, our coach Jack Guinan always told us, act like you've been there before. I have always remembered that. Like you celebrate because you dunked, but you're losing. You didn't win. Like I told you, the defender in football, he did nothing and he's sitting there doing this. Like You didn't do anything. Just
Anything. Now, I got to ask you, Jeff. I don't know for sure, but we're talking about guaranteed contracts. Did that player have a guaranteed contract that year?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. And I think, yeah, we ended up, one of our guys got hurt. I can't think of who it was, and he was filling in for a couple weeks. And remember, Jen, we were here watching it. I'm like, I go, what the fuck is he doing? What are you doing? The play's going on. So he's over here. He runs this way, tips the ball like an idiot, and it goes into the Washington Redskins for the win. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I'm a Washington fan, but when that guy caught that ball, he's like, wow, this was easy. He's like, why did it come to me? I mean, that's what the reaction that you've seen from the Washington players. He's like, what the hell? I mean, it even startled him. So he wasn't totally into the game, but he caught the ball. Just
before we go to
a messed up deal. That was an embarrassment on the NFL, in my opinion. I mean, it really was. I mean, it was a miracle play for the people that made the play, but the ones that didn't. If I was Roger Goodell sitting up in the CEO box, I'd be like, what the hell's going on? I mean, to me, that's what I would be like. I'm like, come on.
Because just like what I was saying, you could be down and you dunk or you block and you're celebrating. So we were up by, I don't know what we were up, 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. And so this guy is over being a douchebag. Like, this is celebrating before you even know what's going on. And it comes back to haunt you. And like, if there was more discipline in sports, that never would have happened.
Exactly. 100%.
That happened.
100%.
Joe Torre, took out Andy Pettitte because he was not having a good game in one of the World Series. He took him out. He sat him down. And the same thing with Peyton Manning when he was in Denver. He got benched. And Kubiak brought him back in for the season. He's like, listen, you're just not playing well. You're a Peyton Manning fan. He got benched for Brock Osweiler, I think. But Peyton Manning got it back. He was like, okay, I got to play better. And he went on to, win the Super Bowl. But this guy, Tyreek Stevenson, number 29, asshole, just there's no discipline. It's like, haha, we're going to win. And you end up losing. And you're the one who cost your team the win. So whatever.
Exactly. Right. It's embarrassment. I mean, it really was. I mean, that made the Bears look real. I can only imagine what the Bears were thinking. The coaching staff, and the front office, thinking, holy cow, we're paying this guy millions of dollars to not even do his job. In my opinion, he shouldn't have got paid for that game, period. They should strip his money for that game. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe that's the stuff you don't hear about.
I remember saying out loud, get rid of him right now. Fuck him. But that's the arrogance of sports, right? You think that you're so much better.
Yeah, right.
It was a national televised game.
Yeah.
And you go out there and you're just being stupid. And I was saying, you are the one that tipped it for the winning touchdown, and you, whatever. But that's what you get for not having discipline or care, because I know that we all work. If we all did something like that at our jobs, it just would never have, would never.
Yeah.
Like, oh, don't worry, there's next week. No,
No, not at all. And we don't get paid not even close to $1 million a game. Not even. But yeah, it's sad though. I mean, it's sad that we have to talk about stuff like this, but there's a lot of good points, and a lot of people don't look at it from this angle. They're just looking at what goes on Sunday afternoons or Sunday night or Thursday night football, whatever, and they look at all the high points and all the gossip and drama. They see all the stuff that goes on, and we're just touching the surface. There's so many things that we didn't even talk about, with what goes on, I'm sure, behind the scenes of a lot of these sports that we don't want to talk about. It's just, you mentioned something earlier with that guy with the contract from Deshaun Watson. How much of that stuff every year, there's at least 1 to 2 people on that league, in the NFL that's done something like that, or something come out that happened 2 years ago or whatever.
Always happens.
Why is it? Don't these people do enough research on these people to know that when they come into the league? I don't know. I get it.
So just before we go to commercial break with that, so the Browns were looking for a quarterback, right? And Deshaun Watson wanted out of Houston because of whatever was going on.
Right.
So the Cleveland said, "Oh yeah, hey, you led your team to the playoffs. You're going to be great." And then boom, he sucks. But that's just the way it is. And so they just look at.
And they
guy,
took him. They took him though, knowing that he had all that stuff going on in the background. It wasn't even settled yet, and they still gave him a guaranteed $280 million or whatever. It's like, are you crazy? I mean,
so just before we go to commercial, so I'll end this part with that. So here's a guy who settled out of court, right, Jen? I believe everything was settled out of court with Deshaun Watson.
For these, but there's probably more.
right.
So okay, so Jackie and Jen, we got about 3 minutes. Okay, you guys are masseuses, right? And you get felt up, or you get harassed or sexually fondled by somebody. Why are they making a guaranteed $230 million contract while you guys just got, what's the word I'm looking for, disrespected? And I don't know. I know it's something sexual. I just can't think of what it's called. Jen, why don't you answer? Like why is that even allowed?
I don't know.
No, your opinion as a woman. I'm sorry. Yours and Jackie. Your opinion as a woman.
Money, who you are, who you know, the lawyer you have.
100%.
But as a woman, though, I mean, I don't know what Deshaun Watson. I'm just speculating that he was on the table and he felt the woman up. Now, like, I'm just saying, if that was me, Eric, or George, we would have been in jail.
Mm-hmm.
We would have had a sexual lawsuit.
Exactly.
But because you have millions of dollars and you're able to settle out,
You think
that's
you think if that happened to us, you think your job would keep you on their payroll? Yeah.
I have to be careful how to answer that. Yeah, they probably would.
Well,
No, I don't actually know.
right.
None of ours would be safe.
Not mine. I can
Not
guarantee.
not with New York State laws.
Okay.
No way. Like if you're, in other words, if you're held to something,
Now,
yeah.
5 years ago, maybe.
I mean,
But now the new laws, no.
I don't see it happening. I mean, unless
No,
you got
it happens. Yeah, if I mean, even at work, if we were to harass someone, you can get not only fired, but you can face criminal charges. And I mean, they don't even have to, like at work, if you harass someone at work in New York State, they don't even, the person that's harassed doesn't even have to go to the boss.
No.
Right.
They can legally go straight to the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
Just before we go to the commercial, do you know, like, you don't even have to be at work? Like, let's say.
No, you don't. It can be on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it on social media now.
I went to the bar and I said something to her, she can still come back on me.
Yeah.
But all right, so to all of our viewers and listeners, don't go anywhere. Our pretty little faces will be right back. George is going to slowly take his clothes off, so don't go anywhere.
There, that's all you get.
You know the button to push, trust me.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are done with our commercial break. This is JK'z Rewatch Bar. We are talking sports. If you're familiar with our show, if you watched the first show or listened to the first show, we did the negatives. Now we are going to talk about some of the positives from our own opinion. And always with me is Mr. Eric Evans, George Muzzy, Jack Lynch, and my wife, Jennifer Welch. Thank you for coming back. I'm glad you guys didn't disappear. I was a little worried there. But anyways, listen, so we're talking sports. We just shitbagged all the sports and what we thought. Let's talk about some of the positives. Jen, what one thing positive would you say stretches from around the world when it comes to sports?
Friendship, support. When you're in school, you get that, and then in college, you form friendships that'll last, and then NFL, you get there was what was it? He was from the Philadelphia Eagles. He fought depression for a few years, and none of his teammates really knew, and they're like, we're here for you, and there's the support system that doesn't cost anything, it's free. So
that's an excellent point.
Think about that.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but you're right. Yeah. I think he ran to Dak Prescott at the end of the game and told him, "Thank you for talking about mental health," and that's what brought it out. If it's the same person I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Good job, John.
Good one.
Kind of piggybacking off of that about the friendship thing. I remember I watched it, and you could probably look it up on YouTube or TikTok or something. I saw, I don't know if they were retiring his number or if they were, I don't know what they were doing, but it was Ken Griffey Jr. They were doing his number, I think. It was something at Seattle. It was in Seattle. And he was talking about his teammates, and he left the one for last, and they are complete opposites. I mean, like Ken Griffey Jr. is stereotypical, and I don't want to say this wrong, black. He has, he listens to rap music. He has 5,000 pairs of different sneakers and whatnot. And this other guy is a redneck guy from, redneck cowboy type guy, but they were teammates. And he literally said, if something ever happened to me, my wife, and my parents, this is the guy I would want to raise my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how close we became.
Right. Sure.
Playing on the same team for all of those years.
Yep.
I remember watching that, and that was, the way you said it, it's just basically two polar opposites. And George said, save this person for last. And he said exactly, something happened to blah, 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 blah. This is the person that I trust more than anybody. And I remember watching it thinking like, damn, that was like, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's just, they got to know each other. I mean, okay, granted, it's not like, and I don't want to say anything, bad or good about football compared to baseball, but let's think about it. Football, they have 17 games a year. If they make the playoffs, they have more.
Mm-hmm.
And how many days are they really together?
Right.
3 to 4 during the, they go home for a couple days.
Right. Mm-hmm.
In baseball, how many? I mean, they play 162 games.
A lot of road games. Yeah.
The only time they get to go home is when they're at their home field.
Sure.
Other than that, they're on the road. I mean, I've seen teams that do a 2-week road trip. I mean, they leave and they're gone for 2 weeks.
He's gone.
And they're at, like if they're from Seattle, they'll go to Texas, and then they'll play 3 games in Texas, and then they'll shoot on over to, Florida, maybe, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So they don't get to go home as much. So what do they do when they're on the road?
Yeah.
Hang out with their teammates.
Yeah.
When they're not playing. So.
Right. So, George, it was funny when you said like they just disappear or whatever. Jackie vanished.
I know. Jackie disappeared right about the time I said that. But yeah, I also wanted to kind of piggyback a little bit off of the negative to the positive, because the last thing we talked about was, Jeff, you had mentioned how they might be down by a touchdown or 2, and they get 1 back and they celebrate like they just won the game, but they're still down. Mm-hmm. When the last league I played in, our rule was no matter what the score is, we're down by 2. Always. Mm-hmm. We could be up by 8. Rule is you play like you're down by 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So that way you don't just, you don't just stop playing.
Right.
And because let's face it, when you have momentum, if you stop and the other team gains momentum, it's hard to shift that back to you.
Right.
I think one of the positives that I love about sports is the camaraderie, the respect. I mean, I think everybody, when you're playing against people, it is what it is. But like, I'll just bring up 2 instances, and then I'll hand it over to Eric or Jen or Jackie. couple years ago, Monday Night Football, Bengals, Bills, Demar Hamlin. He had cardiac arrest. I had no idea what happened. I ended up going to bed early. I woke up and I saw everything. And I'm not. The positive part was the reaction from the players. When you think of, you're playing this team and this team, you're supposed to like hate each other and fuck you, da da da. But everybody saw and was aware of what happened. And when Demar Hamlin was in the hospital, people from the Bengals, because it was in Cincinnati, was going to the hospital to see if he was okay.
Mhm.
I got chills from that. I was like, this is really, it's a tragedy. I mean, you never want anybody hurt, but given the severity of what happened, the fact that everybody was visibly upset, nobody cared about anything except for the safety of and the health of this one individual. And the fact that the Bengals players and personnel and coaches were going to the hospital to see if he was okay. I thought that was really cool. And then they honored the entire staff member and whatever in the hospital at the Super Bowl the following year. So I thought that was really, really cool. The other thing was, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but who I hate to say it, who was the Eric? Who was the black NASCAR driver that it appeared that somebody had put a noose in his garage?
Oh, Bubba Wallace.
So
I don't watch race. I don't watch racing, and I heard that. Yeah.
Who's the old time person that he races for, and he walked him out to his car?
He drives for Michael Jordan.
Who is it?
He drives for Michael Jordan, but are you talking race car driver? Or?
Yeah, because some old time I just can't think of his name, but so all the NASCAR drivers lined up in respect for him, and this one person came out and gave him a hug before he got into his car, and it was a white guy. I mean, but I who it was.
Richard Petty, was it? I can't remember, Jeff. I know what you're talking about, and I just can't remember who it was.
Anyway,
that was a moving moment. That was during the pandemic, and there wasn't a lot of fans there.
So I don't know anything else, and I'm not claiming that I do, but I thought, given the severity of what it potentially was, that somebody potentially had hung a noose, and we all know what that means, and the fact, he's a black race car driver, and yet, there's the majority of race cars are white, and they all show their respect. And then maybe it was Richard Petty or something like that. I don't know who it was. Walked him as a show of camaraderie. And I thought, I'm getting chills thinking about it, because I remember watching it and thinking, again, this is so friggin' cool. So I think one of the positive of sports is the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood that you have to have, because just like this podcast, if we're all in this together and we're all doing what needs to make it work. So those were just two things that I thought of today that I appreciate. And just one more thing before I hand it off to Eric. This preseason, somebody had gotten hurt. I don't know the teams. I can't remember the teams. And I think Jen and I had money on it. But so this player got hurt, carted off the field, and because it was preseason, they just let the quarter run out and they called the game. Because at that particular moment, it didn't matter what. Yes, it's preseason, but nobody else cared, and I thought that was really, really cool. Go ahead, Eric.
It was a Detroit Lions game, right?
Yeah. The Lions. I don't know who they're playing.
I don't either. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't even know what happened to that player. I didn't hear much about it after it happened. Everybody was like, "Who gives a shit? This person's hurt."
That was his neck, I think, but he was talking and moving his extremities and everything. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So
it's sad. But that's why they make the money they do. Because
they could have continued the game and my ticket wouldn't have busted, but that's another show.
All right. That's the hard part.
Gentlemen, Jen and I, we like to bet, and we bet often and we lose often. So there's that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric. Why don't you talk about a couple positives that you think?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. I got a couple situations. So I played hockey primarily my whole career, or I played hockey longer than any sport that I played through my childhood or high school or any of that stuff. So I started out real young. I was like in third grade and all the way to ninth grade. And through those years, I gained a lot of good friendships, a lot of brotherhood, a lot of things that I see now that go on in pro sports that we were doing in youth sports. You know, I played hockey in Ithaca, youth hockey, and it's really serious in Ithaca. Hockey's like the #1 sport in Ithaca, if you don't know. So anyway, we would, as we moved up the ranks, you know, we were like the older kids, and then the younger kids. It was our responsibility as players to help those younger kids. After our practices, after practice for a couple hours, you know, we had to help these kids skate, get them up to where we're going to be someday. So they looked at us to, you know, like we're the professional athlete, you know, because we're bigger, taller, stronger, and they wanted to work hard to get like we were. And I always thought that was a cool moment. You know, they would come in the locker rooms, they would come over and talk with us when we're changing in the, you know, because we're bigger. And as we got bigger, you know, I had a situation in my last year of hockey, and it was in the Bantams, and I was playing goal, and our #1 defenseman got a slap shot in his knee, and he went straight to the ground and right in front of me when it happened, and the shin pad is shattered, and it blew his whole kneecap out, and he was done the whole year. That was like, we were like a week in the season, and that was our last go round as guys that we've been playing since we've been, you know, 6 years old or younger. We've been together that whole time. You know, and that did that to that poor kid, and he never played again. But end of the story is we went on and went to the state championship game that year, and we lost. But, you know, it was such a rewarding and sad moment, you know, because we all were friends and we did things off the ice. We were like a family, you know. It reminds me of that movie, The Miracle, you know, when all those guys got drafted. That's what my career was like, just at a different level. And it's until you live it and experience it, it's awesome. And then moving on to when I got older and I started watching the NFL, the NHL, and, you know, Major League Baseball. What I think is really cool, and I don't really know what brought it on, is the jersey exchange at the end of the games. It seems a little tic-tacky, but, you know, when these guys, they hit each other for 3 hours, 4 hours, you know, for hockey, for baseball, that's a lot. You know, you're at battle. But at the end of the day, they can shake hands, hug each other, talk about those moments and exchange a jersey. You know, and then you see the guys that like the groups to get together and they have a little prayer, a little solidarity circle, whatever, you know, if it's churches, if it's an organization, they're like George is saying, you know, you're on the road a lot. You spend a lot of time together. Is it something that they do outside of work, you know, that they have something going on that they bring it to the workplace, and it's pretty cool. I mean, how often do you go to work and be able to go and have a solidarity circle, or that's what I call it, or, you know, a prayer circle or whatever, just, you know, to take 10 minutes of your time, you know, and get away from everybody. And that's the one thing that the media really respects, is they respect that. If you ever see that, yeah, they're there with the cameras but normally they give them their space, they do their thing, you know, and it moves on. And I think probably what is the best part of that whole thing is that younger kids are seeing that as an example to do something as teammates. And then they're taking those jerseys, and those jerseys could go to an auction that could help a kid that has cancer, you know, that's going through a hardship. And that's the stuff that you don't see enough of, you know, you and I and all of us, we don't see that, you know, but it could go on in some kind of a fundraiser or things like that. And I think that's the cool part about sports, is it brings everybody, you know, together. And I think one of the best moments in sports in my lifetime, it was when 9/11 happened, when the New York Yankees and the Mets played in the World Series. I mean, that was pretty cool. You know, that was
wrong story.
Yeah, maybe it was the wrong year. I'm sorry. That was in 2000, but
yeah, that was 2000. They played the Diamondbacks.
There we go. Okay. Wrong team.
Yankees, Diamondbacks.
Right. And that was a time where sports really brought the whole world together, you know.
Yeah.
It was special, you know, and I think that's the best thing I think about sports, you know, and it kind of covers up some of the stuff that we talked about in the first part of the show, the negative, you know, it's the positive. Millions.
You know, my opinion about that particular World Series, we've talked about that before.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. You know, but that's the, you know, you're on both sides of it. Yeah, it's a negative and a positive, but it's still, we're in the United States, we're under a flag, you know.
Right.
Special moment for people. I think that's the best part about sports, honestly, other than the winning and losing. You know, we always want to win, but unfortunately we have to lose. And that's what's cool about this show we're doing tonight. You know, we're coming together at the end and, you know, make it a positive. But
I just because you talked about hockey, Eric, So you remember in the first part, I had said about, or George had said, you get to hang down, they're out for a week, and Jen said, they stubbed their toe, they're out for 4 weeks. So Jen, you remember when we were over to Angela's, and obviously her and her dad are huge New York Ranger fans, like, oh my God, like, you don't want to be in that house. So I don't know who it was. Jen, you remember this player got hit with a skate and it sliced his head, and he went in and got stitches and came the fuck back out to play hockey.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? Was it that day, Jen, or was it the next day or whatever? Was it?
Yeah, how he came back, I think.
Right. Oh yeah,
So-
it happens. It's common. It happened to me.
Accidentally, and his skate, this player's skate went like right down his neck.
Mhm.
I think that he went and got stitches and he came right back out.
Yeah.
You won't
I've
find it. Well,
I've seen guys in youth hockey. I've seen guys' heads hit the glass and shatter the glass. I mean,
Oh.
it happens. They hit the glass hard. Yeah, it's not fun to see, but I've seen it.
Yeah, let's try it, Jeff.
No.
No, Jeff was kind of shaking it off like, oh, that's nothing. That was the look on your face, Jeff. It was like no big deal.
Seeing injuries. Oh, I hate seeing injuries. Trust me, I've hit many times.
Right. Not good, right?
You hit your head on the glass all the time and you don't play hockey. Interesting.
There's laws against that where I work. You can't just run into anything. But anyway, go ahead, George. You're up.
All right.
I think we already talked.
I was gonna say I already said what I thought, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
See?
Let me think. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, other than like we said, like we've already said, other than the camaraderie and the actual players that want to play and not collect money, that actually want to play. I mean, I get it. They still need to get paid, but you have to want to play. Like, have to have the love of the game. Kind of. This guy who's actually still to this day the baseball player that's made more money than anyone ever. It's the same player. I kind of have a good thing and a bad thing in a way, because he held out for a higher contract. But when the team that gave him that contract wasn't any good, he wanted to go to a team where he could actually do something other than be the best player on that team. Alex Rodriguez. He is still to this day has made more money than any other baseball player in history.
Contracts were astronomical.
Yes.
It was in the 90s. Yeah.
He went, well, late 90s, early 2000s, maybe.
Yep.
I think he was only I think he only did 3 years. It was a 10-year contract, and he only did 3 years in Texas. And I know in 2004, he went to the Yankees.
Yeah.
But
Well, Seattle paid him the money, right? Or was it Texas?
no, it was Texas.
Okay.
He was in Seattle, and then when he showed how good he was,
Right.
it came up, his contract was expiring, and he did hold out for bigger money, but he ended up going to a team that they didn't have any more money, so they couldn't build a team around him. Right. So it was just him. Basically, yes. A couple of good players did later come out of those young players in Texas. Sure. Mark Teixeira is just one that comes to mind. But without Alex Rodriguez, they wouldn't have won anything that year. Right. I mean, he did so good. What, in 2003? Didn't he get MVP? Even though he was on a team that didn't make the playoffs. Yeah,
right. That tells you how good he
did. Yeah, but he did so much better than every other player in the league that they gave him. But then he chose. He's like, you know what? And he actually, on a good note, he was willing to take a little less money. But if you remember, the players' union said you can't take less. We won't allow it. You have to. Whoever takes you has to pay you what your contract is.
Right. They have a contract. Yep. It's arbitration. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So
I have,
just
yeah.
saying what else, one of the respect things I've ever seen in the last All-Star game, that Cal Ripken, obviously Alex Rodriguez was a shortstop, Derek Jeter was a shortstop, so when he went to the Yankees as a third baseman, Joe Torre was the manager for the All-Star game. This is Cal Ripken, right? The Iron Man, right? This guy played with so many broken bones. So when the AL went out into the field, I can see Eric smiling because he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I know.
A-Rod went to third, and he told Cal Ripken. Cal Ripken was like, no. And A-Rod's like, no, get over there. And Joe Torre's like, he's motioning him. So I remember that vividly, and I thought that was a great show of respect, which is... If
I'm not mistaken, they only did it for the first inning, and after that, they switched back.
I think so.
But they did it just to show respect to the guy, because this was going to be... He was retiring at the end of that year.
Right.
He was done. He was done. Two guys that I saw had a lot of camaraderie, and this is a perfect example of what you were talking about, Jeff, like when Hamlin had his cardiac arrest. When now the two biggest rivals in baseball, Yankees, Red Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever noticed Derek Jeter and Big Papi? They're always joking around, pushing each other around, messing around. Apparently, they're like really great friends.
Probably are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just happen to end up on the two teams that ultimately can't stand each other.
Right.
Biggest rivals, but they were really close.
Well, you just touched on something a little bit, George. The part I forgot was is the Hall of Fame speeches. When you hear that, listen to the ceremonies of the Hall of Fame at all sports, you get to learn something about an athlete that you never thought anything or girl or whatever it is.
Right.
Stories to have to tell and how they got to where they got. So you kind of add all that up and you're like, okay, that's why they're making the money they're making. I'm not saying that they're worth $700 million, but
right.
What they had to do to get to where they were, it's pretty amazing that they even have the skills, or some of them even stayed alive. I mean, some of the cities they were in and how they parented and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing they made it as far as they did. But I mean,
what one of the best Hall of Fame speeches I ever saw. I highly recommend going on YouTube. Shocker, we're on YouTube. I also recommend our podcast. Go research Allen Iverson Hall of Fame induction. And I'm going to tell you why. Most people have a script, they write, it's on the prompter.
Yeah.
Him and I just cannot think of the other guy from the Philadelphia Eagles. I can't think of what his name is. Brian Dawkins. Watch Allen Iverson and Brian Dawkins.
Okay.
Talk about their character. That's what I like. Go ahead. Was it Jackie or Jen that I interrupted? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one thing.
Nope, you're good.
Damn. But no, I think it's really cool. Like at the end of a game, I mean, I know baseball doesn't do it, but I know basketball and the NFL does. I think it's pretty cool to see them, swap jerseys and
So for the love of the game, I just got a quick one on a love of the game, right? I don't know if you guys know locally what happened a couple weeks ago. There's a semi-pro football team in Ithaca, New York that it's called the Ithaca Warriors, and they're guys that don't get paid 1 cent to play football because they love the game, and they actually won the championship this year. I think it's the first time.
No, I knew about the team. A couple of guys from this area used to be on. I don't know if they still are. Used to be on the team, but I didn't know that they won recently.
Yeah, they did. They won the championship of the whole league. This year it happened 2 weeks ago, I believe it was.
Nice.
The game was out in Buffalo somewhere, but I actually had one of my old co-workers that I worked with as a mechanic. He played in that team like 7-8 years ago, way back. Probably 10 years ago. He was a linebacker for that team. But, I mean, it's pretty cool to see a local story, or a local team plays for nothing, and they won a championship. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I mean, they play. I don't go to their games, but I used to go to their games when they used to play here in Odessa, and they played over in Corning. That same team did. And that's, to see him, you don't hear about that very much,
Right.
pretty cool that they actually, playing for the love of the game, so it just shows you they can play just as hard and win a championship, but no, they don't have the big TV money like the NFL and all the other sports.
No.
And you don't hear nothing about it. I mean, you don't.
And don't they have to buy like the insurance and whatnot, the team
Probably,
insurance and stuff like that? They have to buy their own uniforms and
Right.
I mean, maybe they got a sponsor that'll help them out, but even so, I mean,
Still, they got to buy a lot of the stuff themselves, and it's basically like your softball league that you're in, but it's part of the arena league, I think, or something.
Yeah. Well, they have. I don't know if they still do it, but they have like a baseball league.
Same thing
in that area. I don't know if I've never gone to watch them. I had some guys that used to be on my softball team. That's what the younger guys, that's what they went and did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they have to, but the rules, I was reading the rules. They were showing me the rules and I'm like, wow. I mean, they literally, if you show up with dirty socks, you can't play or. Yeah. I mean, but they have to buy their own. They have to buy their own stuff. They all have to have their own helmet.
Yeah.
And they have,
Sure.
They have to have the cleats and all that.
Right.
I don't know if they're allowed steel, but yeah, I mean, and they have to do that themselves.
Yeah, right.
They don't,
the team probably has some things that, like the jersey.
Yeah.
They probably have to pay dues and to help raise money and get sponsorship. And it's all
exactly. I mean,
it's kind of neat though that they actually won a game. They won a championship.
Yeah. Because even like what I was saying, I mean, you've gone to a couple of the minor league. Now, I don't mean the college level minor leagues. I don't mean like Syracuse Mets or
I've been to
anything like that. But the lower ones, like I told you, I went to the Geneva Red Wings before.
Oh, many.
But
hundreds.
Even that level, even though they're even that level, they don't have to buy their uniforms.
No.
Like whatever team, whatever major league team, that franchise buys those uniforms and stuff.
Sure.
But these people that are doing this have to buy all that stuff. They have to anything they need to play. They have to do that.
Right.
That to me is the love of the game.
Of the game. Exactly. And they play just as hard,
Yeah, because they're obviously not doing it for the money.
Right.
They're doing it so they can pay money for next year. So I can make sure I have my uniform for next year, or have a new pair of cleats or whatever. Maybe I need a new glove next year,
Right. Yeah, I was asked to be on a hockey team, the same thing as the Ithaca Warrior football team, but there's a hockey team in Ithaca, and it's a funny name. It's called the Toothless Bears. They play in Lansing at the rink, and I've been asked to play on that team a few times over my last 10 years probably to play goalie again, and I just turned the offer down. I don't want to get injured. But
I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I'd have to buy all my gear and all that kind of stuff, and it's
it's a lot of money to.
Yeah, it would be fun. I mean, but
I'm sure.
One bad move, and it's like I don't know. I don't love the game that much.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was like when I played softball. Yes, I had to buy my shoes and stuff, but I didn't have to. It wasn't that big of an expense.
No.
And my shoes this year are probably good for next year. I probably got them for a couple years.
Right.
So it's not like, I'm soaking, hundreds of dollars into this stuff.
Right. I mean, honestly, the only thing I thought about playing hockey again was so my kids could see me play.
Well, yeah.
Be kind of cool. But I don't know. That was forever again. We'll see. Stay tuned.
We'll get four of us and we'll write ERIC on our backs. We'll turn around.
Oh God. We'll see.
Who's the four of us?
Yeah.
Thinking me, Jackie, and Jen. Why not? There we go. Perfect.
You want to go up there and see a bunch of crazy hockey fans?
Plus, I know a couple crazy hockey fans. They're 15 minutes in Geneva. So anybody else wanted anything positive just before we just wrap this up, or Jen? Jackie, I know you're looks like you're outside freezing.
Oh, you're outside.
The only thing that I could think of is to double down on how much money that these sports athletes are making, is that there are a lot of them that do give back to the
Right.
community.
Yeah.
So there's my positive.
Good
Good
one.
job, Jack.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah, no, that was way to end, Jackie. Good job. No, look, I know. I don't know how. Just real quick, does Tuesday work better for everybody than our normal Thursdays? I think it works good for me too.
So far, yeah.
It just went a little long today.
Yeah, we get
Yeah.
it. All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you guys for coming on. You guys are beautiful people. I love you. I just want to thank First and 10, do it again, Jen. I want to thank our Hall of Famer from the badminton community, Shuttlecock George Muzzy. Why can't
A good one.
tight end Jackie, thank you very much. And of course, split finger for Eric. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. And as always, our listeners and viewers, you can watch us on YouTube, you can watch us on TikTok, Facebook, Amazon. You can listen to us on Amazon, Spotify, Purdue Chicken. I don't know, just throwing it out there in case they want to sponsor us. And with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to stop recording. This has been JK'z Rewatch Bauer. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
That was a good one.